Are you hungry?
Give me something good.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Görgött. Today we're making cinnamon rolls or cinnamon buns. I don't know why I chose to do this today because it's a heat wave and obviously I'm baking, so it's going to be even hotter. So bear with me, I'll be sweating a lot. And before we have a look at all the ingredients we need, please do me the favor, if you're not supporting the channel already, please do so by clicking the subscribe button and also checking the bell icon so that you get notifications every Tuesday when new episodes are online. But now, let's have a look at all of this. It's quite a lot today. We can start here. It's 570 grams of plain flour with 5 grams of cardamom. Now the cardamom, I bought these green cardamom seeds, and then you put them in a mortar, and with a pencil you kind of grind it up, throw away the green stuff, and that's what you're left with. And instead of buying pre-grinded one, this is to prefer because it gives much more flavor. We have 90 grams of sugar, some salt. We have 210 grams of marzipan, 1 egg. Now the butter is divided because we need some for the filling and some for the dough. So it's 150 grams for the filling and 110 grams for the dough. We have 30 grams of yeast, 1 vanilla pod, 30 grams of cinnamon, and 250 grams of milk. Now what's not on the board, but what we'll also need, is an additional egg to kind of paint the buns before they go in the oven. So that's not on the board. And once the buns are done, we're going to make them nice and glossy, and for that you need water and sugar. You kind of dilute the sugar in the water, and that's not on the board as well. But first we'll start by heating the milk up to, I don't know what you call it in English, finger temperature. Should be so that when you stick your finger in it, it's not cold, but it's also not warm. And then we'll dissolve the yeast in that. So we'll start with that. We'll clear up a bit here so we can work. So we'll transfer the milk into a saucepan. Add the yeast to that. And pre-diluted a bit. And now we just put this on really low heat. And you don't want it to get hotter than finger temperature because the yeast will start to die. We'll continue with the dry ingredients. We have our flour and cardamom. We add our sugar and a good pinch or 2 or even 3 of salt. Put this away, take the board away, and set up our KitchenAid. We can transfer all our dry ingredients. Hook this in. A dough hook. I can also put in our egg. Get it up. That's, yeah, it's finger warm. We can put that in as well. And now we start the process of kneading. Start really slow until it mixes up. Then after about a minute or so, we'll start adding the 110 grams of butter, little by little. But I'll cut till that because this will be a bit louder. So we slow this down again. Now we're going to add the butter. Now add from the right pile, so the 110 gram pile. And I forgot to say that, but ideally your butter should have room temperature. So now we knead this for another 5 to 8 minutes until it's a nice dough. I'll see you then. So we're done. It was 8 minutes. Get this out. And now what we'll do is we'll put a bit of flour here, and then we'll let it rest for 20-25 minutes. Get a dough scraper. You can see it's nice and glossy and have come together. I hope you can see it from on top if I hold it like that. And that's what you're looking for. So run your KitchenAid until, or your machine until you have achieved that. And so that it doesn't dry out, we'll just cover it with a cloth. Now we'll take this away and then we'll mix the filling. Let's start with getting some butter in here. Just make it in smaller pieces. Now you could have done this in the KitchenAid as well, but I prefer to do it with my hands. Now for the vanilla shoot, split it open. Scrape out the vanilla. Like so. We can mix in the cinnamon. And this will get a little bit messy. You might have to get in there with your hands and release them again. Well, release them. Take the butter out of the whisk. Well, that's what your fingers are for, right? So this is kind of what you're looking for. And obviously we also have the marzipan. Try to put this in smaller pieces, because otherwise it would just be difficult to incorporate. So I think we have it. Now let's see. Let's wait another 5 minutes. You can put this aside. Don't put it in the fridge because it needs to be warm. Well, room temperature, because we're going to spread it afterwards on the dough. But I'll see you in 5 minutes when the dough is ready, and then we'll roll it out. Got a rolling pin. Some flour on that one as well. Now I'm going to try something that I haven't tried before. But it's supposed to work, because we want this into a square, and always when I roll dough it kind of turns in more to an oval. But there's a trick. If you mark the dough with a cross, and don't worry about the glutes, not the glutes but the gluten, that will stay. And now let's give this a try. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's better than normal. You see all those wonderful black dots of cardamom. I'm a big cardamom fan, so for me this is perfect. If you don't like cardamom, just leave it out. But I think it belongs to it. You want this about 3 millimeters thick, something like that. So obviously from the top you cannot see how big it is, but you can see it from there. Now we can always try to manipulate it a bit into a square. I'm happy with my square. Now for our filling. Easiest way, I think at least, to spread it out is with a palette knife. You can still see there's some lumps, but don't worry about that, they will melt in the oven. And I'll try to really fill the whole thing out until the edges. I'll see in a bit once this painting is done. I'm happy with that. Now we're going to roll it up. We'll start from this end. Now you can probably not really see what I'm doing. Not really. So I'm starting with a very small, tiny piece, kind of folding that over, pressing it in. These are going to be huge cinnamon rolls. Now there's different ways of doing this, right? You could also do another shape and then you just have to fold it over. But my mom always made rolls, so that's why I'm making rolls now. So that you can see it, yeah. Get a baking tray out or two, put a baking paper, and then we'll portion these. Let's cut it more or less in the middle. And then we can do like this. And this will be quicker to portion. I want them about, I would say 2 centimeters. Now we put them on the baking tray. Can you see that? Yeah. Give them a bit of space because they're gonna rise on the tray. I think we can do 4 like that, and probably 4 like that. So 4 times 4 is 16. Obviously, you squish them a bit with a knife, so you can try to unsquish them when you put them on the tray. So that's our first tray. We're going to cut that up because it's a shame to let it go to waste. They're not going to be the most beautiful, but we'll do that as well. And then I'll show you what we'll do. So we're done. We cleaned up. Now cover them. As you can see, I moved 4 from here over there to the kind of not so nice one, but just to give them more space. And now we cover these and we'll let them proof for, probably in this weather, just over an hour. You kind of want them to maybe not double in size, but almost. So I'll see you once that is done. And in the meantime, dissolve 75 grams of sugar in 100 grams of water. That's what we're going to use once they're done to get them glossy. And I would say also before, maybe in an hour or so, turn on your oven to 190 degrees Celsius so that that's preheated and ready for baking once these are done proofing basically. So I'll see you in about an hour and a quarter, something like that. Well, I'll see you in a second. So this is the sugar. 100 grams of water, 75 grams of sugar, and just dissolve. We'll put that to the side now. Now it's time to paint on the egg wash. You can also go around on the sides, makes them nice and hopefully a bit golden. I'm not going to film this will take a while, so I'll see you once this is done. I hope you didn't forget to turn on your oven, preheat 190 degrees. If you did forget, do it now, and then it can heat up while you paint on the egg wash. Brush on, not paint on, brush on. See in a bit. So the first one is done. We can do the second one while we have this in the oven. So this goes in now for about 9 minutes. But keep an eye on it. Might need a little bit longer. Let's put this in and I'll see you in 9 to 10 minutes. Here we go. Now the last thing we need to do before we let them cool, the sugar water. Just put this on top and then they will be nice and glossy. We need to wait for them to cool down. That will probably take half an hour. But before we do that, if you stuck with me this far, there must have been something you enjoyed about the episode. So please do me the huge favor and hit that thumbs up button. It's just down there. And that really helps me to spread the content that I'm making in the YouTube universe. So I will be very grateful if you could do that. And I will see you once this has cooled down. Doesn't it look beautiful? Now, all that's left is to eat it. That's amazing. There's a nice play between cinnamon, cardamom, sweetness from the marzipan. If you're on a diet, don't make these. Or make them and freeze them for the day after your diet, so that you can enjoy something really good after your diet. But these are amazing. I mean, you probably all know this coffee chain from Washington State. They have cinnamon rolls as well, but those have nothing on these. Spectacular. And I know in some countries you tend to put like a glaze on them. They're sweet enough, you don't need the glaze. Now, if you want to put a glaze, by all means, but I think you really don't need it. These are perfect. It reminds me a lot of my childhood. My mom used to bake these, not exactly this recipe. And I used to get them if there was a school trip or something like that. I used to have these with me. Childhood memories. But that's it for today. I still cannot believe that I'm baking with 35 degrees outside. But hey, someone's got to do it. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget, click the subscribe, check the bell icon. Now I'm going to go melt. See you next time. Bye-bye.